Good morning everyone. Thanks very much for joining this CIVITAS Portis webinar. My name is Tim Durant from a company called Vectos. We're very pleased to be partners in this project, which has been running now for 4 years, CIVITAS Portis. Perhaps some of you have joined us for the previous webinars as well. On the screen, you can see that we've had a webinar series of 3. So we've been looking at how the Portis cities have been encouraging behavioural change in their cities, and we first of all we looked at the human dimension. So looking at people are creatures of habit. So how can we engage people to think about their travel choices? So we had a couple of presentations on particularly approaching people about their commutes to work. We then had the digital dimension, where we were looking at the new journey planning apps that have been produced by the cities of Antwerp and Trieste. And now we're moving on to the last in this series, the physical dimension. So looking at how infrastructure choices and it can influence obviously people's travel choices, and really pleased to have 2 presentations today from Constanta and Klaipeda, which I'll introduce further in a moment. So just to give some quick background on the CIVITAS Portis project, we've been working with 5 cities, 5 port cities from across Europe. As you can see on the map, we've got Aberdeen, Antwerp, Klaipeda, Trieste and Constanta involved, and these cities have been looking at a whole range of measures and initiatives, through from improved governance and working between the city authority and the port authority, a whole range of sustainable mobility measures that have been piloted within the project. Yeah, and as I say, we're coming towards the end of the project now, so we're into the evaluation phase of the project. So we're very pleased to be sharing what we've been learning during the project, and so this brings us on to the physical dimension of the webinar. So I find these figure ground diagrams produced for urban design, produced in urban design, are really interesting. They really highlight that the choices that we make in our street networks are incredibly important, and in some cases the Portis cities have been looking at how they prioritize different routes for freight and different routes for active modes and public transport. So we've been looking at that dimension, but I think also these diagrams really emphasize the open space element that streets provide in our cities and the importance of this. And of course this is also very important from a street design perspective, and in recent times with the COVID pandemic, that's certainly been highlighted and emphasized even further. So that brings me on just to introduce briefly the 2 presentations we'll have today. So first of all, really pleased that George Pascu from the metropolitan zone of Constanta could join us. Throughout the project, Constanta have been working on and planning with stakeholders changes to the boulevards, to the major boulevards running into and through the city, and I really can't emphasize enough what major works these will be for the city, with reprioritisation for public transport and for active modes. So it's really great that George can share what the city have been working on in the first presentation today. And then secondly, we'll have a presentation from Indra Butiniena from the city of Klaipeda, who's been working on cycle measures in the city. But first of all, and for around 20 minutes, we'll be with George to hear about his work in Constanta. So thank you very much, George, for joining us, and I'll give you the floor. Thanks very much.
Thank you, Tim. So can you see my presentation?
Yes, I can just see that's come up on your screen. It just needs to go to full screen. Yeah.
Okay. So it's on?
Yeah, perfect. Thank you. That's good.
Okay. Okay. Good afternoon, everybody, and thanks for joining this webinar. My name is George Lupashcu, and I work for the metropolitan area of Constanta. I'm also an expert in Portis project, and today I am going to present some undertakings that the city of Constanta has made regarding the transformation of some major city boulevards, and in the sense of reallocation the street space for more sustainable transport modes. A few words about the city of Constanta. It has a surface of around 125 square kilometers. It is located on the southeast part of Romania. Is the European Union border at the Black Sea. It has around 316,000 inhabitants. Together with its urban functional area, it has around 500,000 inhabitants, so it's a medium metropolitan area. Constanta is also a port city. It has the largest and deepest port on the Black Sea that is connected to all modes of transport. And the activities of the port, it's on a growing trend, to say like this, in the past year. In 2019, last year, it's processed more than 67 million tons of commodities. Constanta is also a tourist city. It has the most extensive capacity in Romania. There are around 1 million tourists that visit the metropolitan area resorts every year. In World Bank study designed last year, they come up with this number that more of half of the Romanian population has visited at least once in the past year the city of Constanta. This is around 10 million people. So we can say that it's very important to have a nice mobility around the city for these visitors. Regarding the street network in the city and some aspects regarding the mobility, Constanta is the end node of the Rhine-Danube 10T corridor. It is connected to all modes of transport. We have a sea and a river port, which is the port of Constanta. We have an airport near the city, located around 22 kilometers far away from the city. We have the railway network and, of course, the road network. A few words about the city street network. It has a length of about 433 kilometers and a surface of around 5 square kilometers. What I want to say about the street network in Constanta is that it was built around the 1970s, when the vehicle ownership wasn't an important issue, because very few people own the car. And the city street network in Constanta, it's characterized by wide boulevards that are connecting the city with the surrounding localities that are passing through the city center, and narrow streets inside the neighborhoods. Regarding the vehicle ownership in the city, as you may see on the right-hand screen here on the upper graph, It's on a continuous growing trend, and right now we have around 343 cars per 1,000 inhabitants. Is not so much comparing with other cities, but having in mind that this is growing, it has a growing trend, soon it will be an important issue. You can see on the other graph that we have a good modal share regarding the public transport, but you have to know that these mini buses are not on the roads for the moment because their contracts, to say like this, are finished, and the city just performed the public transport service contract with an with a public transport operator. So this will be the only public transport operator in the city. It has a fleet of around 160 buses. Most of these buses are new buses, are Euro Diesel 6 buses that were bought last year with a loan from EBRD. So public transport can be much more improved in the city. The main challenges in the city regarding the mobility are that the infrastructure in this moment it's not adapted for active transport mode and for sustainable transport mode like transport. So it's more motor vehicle centric infrastructure. We have a big parking issue, as you may see from these pictures. Cars are parked everywhere, but in the last period, the city tried to enforce better the parking regulation around the city. So we have lots of local police officers that are dealing with this issue for the moment. There is a lack of alternative transport modes facilities like bicycle lanes or bus lanes. Also, there is reduced safety and security for people using the street network. The infrastructure is not adapted to the needs of people with disability and reduced mobility. And of course, there is some lack of awareness regarding sustainable mobility aspects. In order to, all these challenges were identified, to say like this, when we have developed our SAMP. This was made around 2015, 2017. The SAMP was approved at the metropolitan area level in 2018. So the vision of our SAMP is to achieve a sustainable, safe, integrated and accessible to all transport system, connecting people and places, supporting economy, environment and quality of life in Constanta Agropol. So it's an ambitious vision, and we are right now in the process of achieving these visions and also the SAMP objectives. I want to say a few words about Constanta SAMP. It was developed in a bigger program developed by the national government. So we benefited from top-class experts contracted by the Ministry of Regional Development, and the city was working closely with these experts. We also have expertise and a good cooperation with Jaspers and EBRD experts when developing the SAMP. So we think that it's a good strategy for the city, and it represents a starting point for further development. Another opportunity that we had immediately after approving our SAMP was the Portis project. This project helped us a lot in further building our local policy context, in the sense that through Portis, the local consortium team succeeded in designing a parking policy for the city, which was approved in 2019 by the local council. So it was a good result for the city. What we have done in this Portis project was that we made an extensive analysis regarding the way streets are used and who are the users, and all these findings were used later to develop a plan on the relocation of street space in the central area of Constanta. This is a document that it's to say like this concluded, but it still has to be approved by the local council. So in this context, we have right now a dedicated funding from the regional operational program of around 40 million euros, and we want to invest this money in redesigning our boulevards in order to have them more to accommodate more sustainable transport modes, and we also want to refurbish our city central area in order to make it more walkable. So you have here a map representing all our projects, and you can see some street design elements. Above you have the existing, the current situation, and below you see how we intend to redesign and to rearrange the street space for more sustainable transport modes. The intervention that we have in mind for our boulevards are the following. We want to include the dedicated bus lanes, which will be segregated from the general traffic, as you may see on the pictures on the left-hand side of the screen. For the moment, there is there are no bus lanes in the city, so the public transport is using the same street space as all the other participants to the traffic. We also want to refurbish the sidewalks in order to have a more pleasant way to go to reach the public transport service. We also want to extend our bicycle network, so we will have around 24 kilometers of bike lanes introduced through this project. These cycle lanes will be segregated from the general public. We also want to introduce the intelligent public lighting, also both for the streets and also for the carriageway, for the cycle lanes and footways. And we also want to introduce smart lighting for pedestrian crossing. Also, we want to to change our urban furniture and to transform it into a smart urban furniture that will be solar energy powered, will have air quality measuring sensors, and also USB ports for recharging phones and so on. We also want to change our bus stops, because these are not so proper for this era that we are living in. So we will introduce these bus stops that will have surveillance camera with alert systems. We will have a Wi-Fi router, and we will use it for air quality and temperature monitoring system. We will have internet for we will have internet for users. We will also have counters for passengers, and also some system of GPS tracking. We also want to introduce information panels for citizens that will provide variable messages and will help citizens and visitors to better find their way through the city. Regarding the city center transformation project, as you may see on the left-hand side of the screen, it's the current situation where we have pedestrian street crossing the city center, and we want to extend this street and also to connect it to the other pedestrian area in the city, which is the peninsula area. I will go back a little for the map in order to. So it's about this project here that we want to extend it. And here we have a pedestrian area, which is functional, and we want to connect these two areas in order to make them more pleasant for walk. And of course, we will have all types of intervention regarding the improvement of the space for walking and for leisure here. We will change all the street furniture. We will have good lighting for this area. We will have more greenery and also some public spaces for different events and exhibitions. So these are the projects that we proposed, and these projects are, to say like this, in an advanced state of implementation. We are right now in the tendering process for contracting the works of this for this project. So we think that we will start the works early in 2021. So right now I want to say a few words how Portis supported this measure. We have on the, as I already mentioned, Portis helped us in conceiving and extending the policy context in Constanta regarding sustainable mobility. And also it helped us very much in discussing with stakeholders and gaining their approval. In Portis, in Constanta, we established a mobility forum that is, how to say, it's a body that brings together experts from different local authorities or different public institutions, from different sectors like tourism, I don't know, different providers of services. So this is an open platform for debate. So we try, according to some topics, to discuss and to identify the problems in those fields, and also to generate some proposal for the decisions taking level. So this helped us a lot to promote these interventions and to to discuss which are the best designs for this projects. Another Portis, to name it like this, that helped us a lot in raising the awareness regarding the need for promoting sustainable mobility projects and actions in the city was the campaigns that were conducted during the project. So we have different campaigns like Walk, Eat Simple and Healthy, Bike to Work campaign, or Choose the Bus campaign. We also have this European Mobility Week campaigns when we close the city center street and we propose different sport activities on these streets. And of course, the most important from my point of view, it's the local led, to say, like the city-led campaign, giving back the sidewalks to citizens. So in this campaign, as you may see on this image here, on the right-hand side of the screen, the city, from its own budget, it's refurbishing all the sidewalks and transforms them in more pleasant places to walk or to spend the time. So this campaign is running for about 2 years from now on. So we hope it will continue. And in this period, the city intends to transform one of the city main streets in the city, in the central area, and transform it in a one-way street for general traffic. And they also want to introduce bus lanes here in both directions. They also refurbished the sidewalks and introduce a bike lane that connects the existing one in the city center. So these are our activities in Portis. These are our plans for transforming the boulevards. Thank you. And if there are any questions, I will be more.
Thank you. Thanks very much, George. It was a really, really good presentation. A lot of information provided there. So, just an overview, possible really, of this big program of works in 20 minutes or so. If people do have, if our attendees have questions, then please do add them in the chat, either for George or also for Indra, and we'll have some time at the end of the webinars to run through those questions. So please do feel free to add any questions. Before we move on to Indra, George, I just wanted to ask you a question. It's obviously a huge program of works. You showed on your map with the red lines that several of the large boulevards running into the city will have the dedicated bus lanes and the cycle works, and then there are also the city centre boulevards where you're introducing the pedestrianisation. So it's exciting that this will be starting to take place in the next year or two. You'll be able to see these taking shape on the ground. My question is, I remember you saying that the boulevard works will remove around 1,000 car parking spaces as well, due to the number of kilometres of the works. So I'm just interested to know, you've talked about the mobility forum, but what has it been difficult for any reason at political level to gain approval for these works, or has there been a good consensus at the city level that this is the right thing to do?
So it's a nice question, but very tricky. So it wasn't so easy to gain this political acceptance from the decision-taking level, because it was a harsh period and the local elections were very close. So you know that these kinds of interventions are quite, how to say, tricky. But we succeeded to manage this issue, working together with the decision-taking level in the mobility forum activities. So, for example, we have the mobility forum that it's working on plenary session where everybody can join the activity and present their point of view. And we also have these specialized working groups on different aspects of mobility. So what we have done through Portis was that we bring closer in our working groups activities, and we bring politicians also in order to present facts and how things are done, not only in Romania, but also in different countries and cities from Europe, from Asia, from more developed countries, to say like this. We also present lots of information regarding this transformation and what are the benefits for it. So it was a very, how to say, involving process with them, because we have them very close since the beginning of the technical designs for this project. We have them closer. Yes, you know, you mentioned about the parkings near the streets that will be reallocated, to say like this, on the other parts of the street network. But yes, this was an issue, but when they saw the arguments that we have provided them, they say, okay, I think this is the future that we need to live in. So it was an iterative how to say, process in order to have their engagement. But finally, and with the help of Portis that gave us the tool and the framework to build this, we managed to have them on board, to say like this.
Great. Thanks, George. Yeah, I know that you always do very good research on what's happening in other cities and countries, so you can bring the evidence to the decision makers as well. And yeah, clearly this dialogue over a period of years has been really vital, especially with very close elections. So no, it's really amazing what's happening in Constanta, and congratulations to you and the team for taking it forward.
Thank you.
So yeah, so I'd like to, if you do have more questions for George, then please add them in the chat. We'll move now to Indra for her presentation. Likewise, we've been working with Klaipeda over the 4 years of the project, and I know there's been a whole range of cycle initiatives going on. I think Portis has focused on the cycle storage and parking, and that's what Indra is going to present about mainly in her presentation, but I think we'll get a good feel for what's happening overall as well with the cycling in Klaipeda. So thanks, Indra, also for joining us. I'll hand over to you now. And we can see the presentation. So it's just coming on to full screen now. But we can't hear you, unfortunately. Can you check your...
Okay, hello everybody. So Tim has already introduced me. I am Indra Buteniene, and I work at Klaipeda City Municipality. I am responsible for strategic planning in Klaipeda City, and my presentation is about fostering cycling culture in Klaipeda City, from recreation to everyday cycling infrastructure for a cycling transition. And at first, I would like to say some facts about Klaipeda.
Sorry to interrupt. Just if it's possible to make the presentation full screen, we can see the next slide show at the moment. But If not, then no problem. I think we can probably see well enough.
Now it's okay.
It's yeah, it shows the next slide as well, so it's not really big, but I think maybe we can see the slide well enough.
Okay. Okay. No.
No, that's gone the other way. Sorry, maybe I should. Maybe it's
Okay,
best to leave it like this.
On my computer, it is shown like full screen. So
yeah. Okay. Well, let's.
Now. What about
oh,
now?
Yes. Now you've done it. Well done. Yeah, that's it.
Okay.
Okay. So I'm sorry to interrupt you. Okay.
So sorry for technical issues. So at first, I would like to tell some general facts about my city. So Klaipeda is the third largest city in Lithuania, and it has around 150,000 inhabitants, and its area it's about 98.3 square kilometers. Klaipeda has ice-free port and port handlings in 2019 were a bit less than in Constanta, as my colleague presented earlier, and it was 46.3 million tons a year. So Klaipeda has really favorable conditions for cycling, for development of cycling culture, because it's a rather compact city, just 1,500 inhabitants. Of course, we have surrounded area, metropolitan area, that is not big also, about 30,000 inhabitants live in the premises of the city. The city is located in the coastal plain, and it's surrounded by protected scenic and recreational areas. We are next to UNESCO territory, Coronian Spit. And Klaipeda, through the years, through almost 30 years, done a lot of in terms of developing bicycling in the city, and that's for the city received the Bicycle City Award from Lithuanian Ministry of Transport 2 times, 2013 and 2015. And these awards were given to the city mostly for developing bicycle paths. Today, the total length of bicycle paths in Klaipeda is 106.9 kilometers, and it's increasing every year. City has a special plan for bicycle infrastructure development that was approved by the City Council in 2015, and there you can see it on the screen. It's rather hardly seen, but the city's goal is to create a green way that starts in the southern part of the city and ends at the seaside in the northern part of the city, and we call it Žaliakelis or Green Way. And now it's almost done, and we have just few missing links that in next 10 years we plan to build. And our goal is that our citizen could travel from the southern part of the city, where we have a lot of multi-story residential area, to the center of the city and to the seaside in the northern part of the city, without going next to streets, because that green way is going through the parks and residential areas, and now you can pass rather quickly from one side of the city to another. But as I mentioned before, we still have some missing links to make it fully convenient for use. What kind of problem in cycling sphere we have, it's that our residents use bicycles more for recreational purposes on weekends and holidays, not for daily commuting to work, school, and areas. And we also, as Constanta, have our sustainable mobility plan conferred by our city council in 2018. And the main goal that is defined in that plan is to change people travel's habits, to encourage bike usage for everyday travel. We have done model split 2 times, a big poll of model split, and in 2012 the results shows that only 1.3% of Klaipeda residents use bicycle for daily commuting. Model split that was done in 2017 results showed that already 5% of residents use bicycle or scooter for daily commuting. And this is a part of European Union politics, part of our government, central government politics, city politics, and of course it's a trend between young people, and new philosophy of sustainable mobility have done a rather big impact on those results. The city target for 2030 in CUMP is 8% or more of residents using bicycle for daily commute. What are obstacles to choose cycling for everyday travel? The weather in Klaipeda is often rainy, starting from October to March. It's often windy and rainy, so not very convenient to travel by bike. Bicycle thefts, unfortunately, still happens. Many multi-story buildings do not have lifts, and it's very uncomfortable for residents to carry bicycles upstairs. Here you can see a picture of typical multi-story building built through Soviet times in Klaipeda city, and those 5 or 6 story buildings do not have any lifts. So it's really people have a problem of carrying everything up and down. So the other obstacle is that people still think that traveling by individual car is more comfortable and safe. And we were thinking, how can we help our citizens to do more favorable conditions to use bikes in their daily travels? So we decided to start with bike storage pilot project through Portis project to try to see what impact it can give on travel habits of our citizens. So what we planned in Portis activities, it's developing a bike storage system in Klaipeda and developing bike counters in Klaipeda. Here you can see a bike counter that was installed this early spring in Klaipeda city. We have 2 of them in the city. And also what is very important is citizen engagement, because it's not enough to install some infrastructure things. It's very important to work with people's minds. So what we expected to increase a bicycle use for daily commuting to from work, school, and public places, and long-time impacts to change people travel behavior from the early age. That's why we will see we invited schools to participate, and we also hope this will help to tackle the problem of traffic jams, because we really have a big problem because you in the morning in the peak hours you have to wait half an hour or 40 minutes, 45 minutes, where usually it takes 10 minutes to go by car or by public transport. So, and this problem is increasing. Also, we hope to ensure safer traffic conditions, and of course, the final destination is better or air quality, reducing of air pollution. It's very important. What we have already done. At first, we invited schools for discussion. We invited cycling community. We invited neighborhood communities, and we asked them who would like to foster cycling culture. And for those who wanted the most, we told there is an opportunity to be equipped with some bike storage infrastructure. We also made a public survey and already installed bike storages near school and in one residential area, just like a pilot project to see how it works. What are our future plans? It's to not stop at this pilot project. This was only first step. We plan to do promotion campaigns to encourage people to use bike storages, and we also plan to develop bicycle storage facilities in other urban areas after Portis project. I would like to tell some information about public survey. That was one of instruments to engage public. So in 2018, in the end of the 2018, we conducted survey that was anonymous, and we got 670 respondents, and the survey was placed on the website and Facebook of our municipality, and the results of survey were also published on the website of Klaipeda City Municipality. What were the questions in the survey? Have you ever heard about bike storage facilities? Have you ever used bike storage facilities? What kind of bike storage facilities do you prefer? Where should bike storage facilities be installed first? Would you use single individual bicycle storage facilities near your home? And what kind of single individual bike storage designs are more attractive to you? So there are examples that we put on the survey. Also, we ask what kind of design do you think is more attractive to multiple common bicycle storages? What type of locking system you would like to prefer? Do you own a bicycle? Would a bicycle store near your home encourage you to buy a bicycle? And what is the most common purpose of cycling? So the main result of survey were that most of respondents have chosen individual bike storage facilities. And after a long discussion in municipality, we decided to install individual bike storages in the residential area and shared bike storages near the schools. In 2020, the works were finished in summer. We installed 4 bike storages. 3 of them are in the school areas in northern, central, and southern part of the city. Each of the storage that were installed, that was installed near the school, has 25 parking places and is equipped with air pump and repair kit. Cost of one storage facility is about 39.6 thousand euros. Bike storages are operated by schools themselves. One bike storage was installed in a residential area in the northern part of the city, and there 10 individual parking places are installed. The cost of such individual parking storage costs 24,000 euros, And bike storage is operated by Klaipeda Public Transport Company. And in future, as we see that our residents of that area are really happy to have such an infrastructure in their yard, so we plan to extend this practice, and we think that the same public transport company can operate the infrastructure. So here you can see some examples of bike storages that were installed in the schools area. They have a repair kit. They have 25 places, as I told before, and you can lock and unlock the door by using mobile phone. There is another bike parking facility at the other school in the central part of the city. And here is an example of bike storage facility in residential area. You can also open it by using mobile phone. Okay, now I would like to tell some information about installation of bike counters. So it's like a promotional campaign to encourage people to use bikes and to monitor how many bicyclists passed this bike counters every day and every year. And bike counters were installed in the central part of the city at the very busy areas. And the cost of both bike counters were 75.2 thousand euros, and information how many passengers pass through this infrastructure can be seen on the website ecopublic.com. It's a website where you can find a lot of cities, and Klaipeda is among those cities who count bicyclists. So what are our future plans? Klaipeda intends to promote sustainable development and sustainable mobility and cycling culture as a part of our city sustainability. City is now preparing a long-term vision, and the fostering of cycling culture is an important part of it. Recently, city started some new project with the purpose to promote cycling culture among school students and young people. We will try to introduce possibility to leave bicycles at the storages that are installed close to the schools, and also we will have some prizes, some entertainment, and together with the youth coordinator today we are just working on strategy, what kind of entertainment could attract school children to use infrastructure and to come to school by bicycle. Unfortunately, I cannot tell what are the results of those bike storages. Are they very attractive to new users, because they were installed in the summertime and the school years started just in September the 1st, and till June, till the end of June, we had distance learning according to COVID-19 issues. So nobody used this infrastructure, and we are hoping that in the end of the month we already have results how school societies are using this infrastructure. Are they happy or are they not? And talking about residential area, it's really a very good idea, and people are very happy to have such in the infrastructure. They even did a lottery who will get the use of this individual bike storages, because it's not enough for everybody, because a lot of residents living in just 10 places. So that's it of my presentation. Thank you for listening, and if you have some questions, I would be glad to answer.
Thanks very much, Indra, for your presentation as well. That was again really excellent, and good to hear that the progress that's been made during the Portis project on providing the bike storage, and yeah, clearly people very enthusiastic to use that bike storage, which is also good news. I can see that for people living in the apartments, providing these bike parking spaces makes a huge difference to whether they will cycle or not on a daily basis. We have had one question come through. So someone asking, is it sustainable to go for individual bike storage for people's individual bikes, given the limited space available and possibly also the cost? So is it worth consulting with people whether it would be good to have common bike storage areas as an alternative? Maybe that would be more cost effective.
Yeah, I can agree that maybe it's not 100% sustainable, but according to situation that bicycle thefts still happen, and people are afraid to keep bicycles even close to schools, at their shopping centers. So it was a decision made together with the neighborhoods just to make this infrastructure attractive and usable. It's because of that. Yeah,
okay, thanks, Indra. Yeah, so it's in the first case especially, it's important to give people the infrastructure that they are comfortable using, and as you say, if it encourages them to buy bikes and to use them, then that's a very good starting place. And yeah, I was interested to know how the bike storage is being used, but clearly it's not been a good year for cycling to school. So I just wonder generally for Klaipeda, then I remember when the bike sharing scheme was also installed, there was this point about people using the bikes mainly for recreational use. Are you starting to see a change in the city where people numbers of people are increasing, that you see going shopping, going to work by bike? Do you see that change happening?
Yeah, we have some problem here, because at first our plan was to make a pilot bike sharing system through Portis project. But then a private supplier came and installed all the system in Klaipeda for free. They came, it was private supplier CTB. They came with a car sharing, bike sharing, and scooter sharing. And for 2 years, we had bike sharing in Klaipeda, car sharing. And now we have only car sharing left. It's very, very popular and it's profitable. But bike sharing system for those businessmen seemed not so profitable. And now we have the scooter sharing system in Klaipeda provided by other private supplier. And as long as we are planning 3-year strategy for pilot activity, we are wondering what to do, because when this showed that you cannot rely on private suppliers when you are thinking about public infrastructure. And to keep bike sharing system, I guess that the successful practice is to municipalities should give some support to buy such service. Now it's the first year, after 2 years, we don't have the system. People really used and were really happy to use the sharing system, but unfortunately, private supplier thought it's not profitable enough, and so they are having car sharing. when big buses sharing, they are extending this field, but now we have to think something to what to do in bike sharing field.
Okay, thanks, Indra. Yes, so I mean, it's good to hear that the car sharing is popular, but for the bike sharing, which was popular but not profitable, that's a shame, and it shows how quickly these things can change. So I suppose the decision with the city is now to whether to maybe subsidise a bike sharing scheme or not. I suppose. Okay. Okay. Well, thanks very much for answering that question. We haven't had any further questions from attendees, and we're coming up towards it. Well, we've just come to the end of the time for the webinar today. So I'd like to thank George and Indra very much for their presentations today, and also to invite the attendees to please, if you have any questions or you'd like to be in touch with Klaipeda and Constanta to benefit from their knowledge on these particular projects, then please do contact us at the Portis project. I just have a couple of quick slides I'd like to show just to finish off. So hopefully people can stay with us for a couple of moments. Just see if I can go to share my screen. Okay, so it's just to mention that we, as I said at the beginning of the webinar, we've had the 3 webinars. These are all available as recordings, or will be made available in this case, on the CIVITAS Portis website. So if you didn't see the others and you're interested to learn more about the project, then please do feel free to visit that website and look at the other webinars as well. And then CIVITAS Portis will also be presenting during the Urban Mobility Days. So this is a much bigger series of online conference and webinars which will take place towards the end of September, and Portis will be participating in this particular session with the sister sort of innovation and research projects, CIVITAS Eccentric and Destinations. So if you haven't already, then I'd recommend that you go and have a look at the program for the Urban Mobility Days at the end of the month. And so we've run a few minutes over time, but thanks very much for joining us for this webinar, and please do feel free to contact us for any more information. Thank you very much.
Okay.